नमस्कार। हर संडे की तरह आज भी आपके साथ जुड़ चुका हूँ। एवरी संडे आई ट्राई टू टॉक टू यू समथिंग very positive. I'm shooting this video in Indore at my cousin's Bangalore. I have come here to attend 2 or 3 marriages here and in Jabalpur. I was getting some spare time, so that I thought that I should talk about one particular subject. Of course, this video will be aired somewhere in the first week of December, and this is appropriately the most correct time to look to the future. When I say look to the future, it's a short-term future I'm talking about. I believe that I should talk to you about the preparation for 31st of March 2023. By the time you see this video, you could be having 115 days or 120 days to reach the deadline of March 23. And this March is not going to be that easy or that simple because of the sinking complexities of regulatory directions that have come for the urban cooperative banks over the past 1 or 2 years. We all prepare for the financial results. Of course, throughout the year the preparation is on, but the focus and the nitty-gritties are decided in the last quarter. My appeal to you is simply this. I'll be talking to you on a couple of points, the preparation of which should start now. I would would like to talk to you in such a way that what could be a preparation for 100 days. Within 100 days, you should be ready with the balance sheet that is compatible and acceptable to all the stakeholders of your bank as well as the Reserve Bank of India. You will ask me why the hell you are talking on this subject. Because I observe that many urban cooperative banks somewhere in the month of March start looking towards the annual closing. We don't look to 31st of March as a balance sheet closure. We look to the conclusion of certain transactions. Over a period of time, the things have changed and the times have changed. It's not the concluding transactions that you should be worried about, or the process of closing that normally takes place. I'm worried about the numbers that you want to arrive at, and that's the preparation now. Now, when I talk of this, there are a couple of red flags I'll be raising, and these red flags are required to be addressed by each bank from their own perspective. You are all aware, barring some smaller banks, that is Tier 1 banks, the ongoing NPA via system, via CBS, is being exempted to them. But then Reserve Bank of India has already advised that the NPA identification should be done through system. Make sure that your entire NPA classification process is done on CBS. Reserve Bank expects that you should do the provisioning via CBS also, and in fact the SMA 0, SMA 1, SMA 2 classification should also be done on system. I am not aware of the kind of software that you are using, but you should sit on your vendor to ensure that you should get at least 99.99% result of NPA classification without human intervention. Once you achieve that, because there is no software in this world which is absolutely perfect. I should not name any of the software company, but then you as a banker, you have to follow those 2019 guidelines of ongoing NPA on system, ongoing provisioning on system. Many banks have not been able to migrate to the ongoing provisioning on system and ongoing SMA 0, SMA 1, SMA 2. A simple fundas could be applied over there that you can look for the number of days overdues and go for SMA classification and get the program written from your software vendor. This is a key thing, because Reserve Bank of India last year was little lenient on the NPA classification. This year it will not be so. So these 100 days, make use of couple of things which will ensure that you are absolutely regulatory compliance. Second thing which I invite your attention to, the NPA classification that has been done via system, and if the system has done some errors, create a record of errors, create the images of the errors that are taken or done by the system, For example, an account has been wrongly classified as NPA, factually it is PA. Keep a record, keep evidences, so that you can prove that your system has made some errors. And normally system doesn't make errors. It is the users who make some wrong entries into the system, and therefore these errors are caused. But then it will be very difficult for you to actually investigate and identify, because you only have 100 days. But then if you keep proper evidences that the error has taken place and therefore there is a human intervention, your defense you need to build. Last year we didn't bother about it. Reserve Bank of India was lenient. This year that is not going to be the story. So as simple as that. Another issue that for the purpose of March you need to focus is that proper identification of NPA, and once NPA always an NPA. I have already made 2-3 videos on that. During the 11 or 12 months, if the account has become NPA and has become PA midway, you have to ensure that the account should not get classified as NPA. If at all it gets classified NPA midway, you have to ensure that 0 installments are outstanding for that particular account as on 31st of March. Because if it is not, and suppose this account is having 1 installment overdue or 2 installment overdue, you cannot classify that as PA. Understand this funda. Have any question, please ask. I have no issues on that, because these are the areas where banks have been taken for a ride. Even bigger banks have been taken for a ride, that they did not follow this idea very well. Another issue which for the purpose of March 2023 I intend to talk to you about is, you do quarterly NPA classification and provisioning, right? But we don't do the data analysis. Reserve Bank of India is doing data analysis of 3 quarters. Which are the 3 quarters? One is December 22, second is March 23, and third is June 23. Simply by comparing these 3 quarters data, that is December 22, March 23 and June 23, they get to know the variance. और आप पकड़े कहाँ जाते हो कि दिसंबर में अकाउंट NPA और मार्च में PA हो गया. So that has to be done very cleanly. You should be able to establish that the account was really PA in the month of March. 1 या 2 इंस्टॉलमेंट से अगर आप उसको PA करते हो तो फंस जाओगे. डाइवर्जेंस निकालने मत देना, क्योंकि डाइवर्जेंस का डिस्क्लोजर अगले साल से लागू हो गया है. अगर आपके NPA क्लासिफिकेशन, जिसके लिए मैंने अलग से वीडियो भी बनाया है, लेकिन मैं सिर्फ आपका ध्यान आकर्षण करना चाहता हूँ. आई वुड लाइक टू अट्रैक्ट योर अटेंशन. इफ़ यू मेक मिस्टेक्स इन NPA identification classification beyond certain percentage, say 10%, as has been advised by Reserve Bank of India, you will have to go for disclosure. अब मुझे ये मत कहना कि यार हमारे एनुअल रिपोर्ट तो कोई पढ़ता नहीं है तो हम डिस्क्लोजर दे देंगे, क्या फ़र्क पड़ता है. नो, दिस अप्रोच itself is wrong. This cannot be the approach. And the safest and the best method to ensure this is simple. You have statutory auditor. Some banks are having internal auditor as well. You have to instruct them simply one thing. बॉस, NPA आइडेंटिफिकेशन जो करने का है वो आपको करना है, और उसमें एक्यूरेसी की जिम्मेवारी आपकी है, मेरी नहीं. ये जब आप कहोगे that the statutory auditor or your auditors are responsible for identifying and classifying an NPA, तुम छूट जाते हो. You and your people, you as a CEO and your officers and executives should not intervene in the NPA classification. Default positively on the side of the auditor. आप अगर डिबेट करते हो कि ये अकाउंट PA है और ऑडिटर बोलता है नहीं NPA है, reason it out. No issues on reasoning the issues. But then even if there are slight weaknesses, classify the account as NPA. There are already guidelines issued by Reserve Bank of India for a solitary credit, this and that. Follow those guidelines. आपके इंस्टॉलमेंट क्लियर है, लेकिन साल भर बिजनेस का टर्नओवर आपके अकाउंट में नहीं है, तो जून क्वार्टर में जब रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया का इंस्पेक्टर आएगा आपके पास, तो ये कहेगा कि ठीक है मार्च में ओवरड्यूज नहीं है, लेकिन साल भर में इसके वर्किंग कैपिटल के अकाउंट में ट्रांजैक्शन नहीं है. इसका मतलब ये इसमें इंसिपिएंट सिकनेस है. और अगर वो इंसिपिएंट सिकनेस आइडेंटिफाई करता है, रीजन आउट करता है कि यू डू नॉट हैव DP, यू डू नॉट हैव ट्रांजैक्शंस, in the month of June, if they come, they will increase your March 23 NPAs. Don't give them that opportunities. Do not give them that opportunities. In respect of working capital limit, there are subjective areas, but those subjective areas should be defendable. तो ये चीज़ जो है मार्च 23 के लिए आपको ध्यान में रखनी है. NPA का अगर एरिया आप सही सलामत संभालते हो, and if you make it error free, 50% of your job is done. Which is the second area which is causing concern for Reserve Bank of India, and Reserve Bank of India is harping on that. That is KYC, CKYC, EKYC. जो आपके बैकलॉग है क्लियर करवाओ. 100 दिन है, पेंडिंग मत रखो, क्योंकि वो अगर आप पेंडिंग रखते हो तो उसमें रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया इज कमिंग डाउन हेविली ऑन दैट. KYC, CKYC, re-KYC, EKYC and UCIC, unique customer identification. These are the areas, if the Reserve Bank of India doesn't get anything in your asset classification, they are going to catch you up in this KYC area. So that's an area which you have to follow. I mean, you have to scrutiny and ensure that 100 days are deployed in such a way that as of March 23, your slate is clean. Let me tell you, जो पेंडिंग मार्च 23 में KYC और इसके रहेंगे और वो आपने बाद में भी करवा लिए, उसका आपको बेनिफिट नहीं मिलता है, वो रिमार्क आ ही जाता है. क्योंकि एज ऑन 31 ऑफ मार्च 2023 आपकी जो पोजीशन है वो पेंडेंसी की अगर है तो वो रिपोर्ट में वैसे ही आएगी. हाँ, लेकिन अगर मार्च 23 के बाद में आपका कंप्लायंस हो गया है तो रिजर्व बैंक इसको सॉफ्ट कॉर्नर से देखेगी. हर बार देखेगी क्या, मुझे पता नहीं है. तो ये एक रिस्की एरिया मुझे बनता हुआ दिखाई दे रहा है. तीसरा एक एरिया जो आपको मार्च 23 में तकलीफ देने वाला है वो ये है कि रिस्क बेस्ड इंटरनल ऑडिट सिस्टम आपने 31 मार्च को चालू कर दिया. फाइन, एवरीबडी हैज़ ड्राफ्टेड अ पॉलिसी एंड एवरीबडी हैज़ कंप्लाइड. Reserve Bank of India is going to ask you, where are the reports of risk based internal audit done by you, and on the basis of risk rating of branches and departments, what are the actions taken by you, what are the key findings, and what is the involvement of audit committee in the risk based internal audit report, because these are all policy comfort level documents, these are all policy comfort level guidelines, not only for Reserve Bank of India but for your bank also. So this is an area where we are likely to miss the bus. Ensure that you complete the risk based internal audit one cycle, because there are no guidelines how many times you have to do. Well, normally this has to be done once in 3 months. Ideally, once you do a risk rating based on the parameters that are being framed by you, on the basis of policy that has been framed, you have to ensure that अगर एक आपका ब्रांच अगर हाई रिस्क में क्लासीफाई हो जाता है, विद इन नेक्स्ट 2 और 3 क्वार्टर्स वो मॉडरेट या मीडियम रिस्क में आ जाना चाहिए या लो रिस्क में आ जाना चाहिए. You will find that risk based internal audit is nothing but plugging the gap and doing a subjective as well as objective analysis of risk open areas. So this is an area where the urban cooperative banks are not paying attention, but this is a key area which you need to ensure that you do it correctly. Fifth most critical area is payment of DICC fees. Don't make mistakes there. 2 रुपये ज़्यादा गए कोई तकलीफ़ की बात नहीं है, लेकिन लाइबिलिटी का कोई आइटम आपके दिमाग में है और RBI के गाइडलाइंस के अलग है और आपने उसके ऊपर फ़ी नहीं दी है, you will be punished. You will be punished. So this is a very small area which you have to cover. 6th or 7th most important area which I find is that this time in the disclosure norms, they have introduced a disclosure norm for the grievances and complaints. You must have a nodal officer for ombudsman. You must have a grievance redressal officer. You must have a customer grievances redressal policy. अगर आपके पास डेबिट कार्ड की फैसिलिटी है तो आपको जो NPCI और रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया के गाइडलाइंस है इन टर्म्स ऑफ fraudulent withdrawal of cash from a customer's account, you are responsible for an amount up to 25,000 if the customer makes a complaint. And there are n number of other complaints which are not into the digital payment side, but there are n number of complaints. Many times the complaint is given at the branch level and it is flushed out at the branch level. Keep a record. Keep a record of all complaints. Complaints which are solved or unsolved, doesn't matter. When Reserve Bank of India comes, it comes out with the details of complaints against you, and then what actions you have done. And their focus in respect of customer complaint, their focus is on the systems that your bank is having. So if there is a systemic issue identified by a customer and customer has a grievance, redress his complaint, no issues on that, but address the systemic issue as well, because that's where they are going to focus कि तुम्हारे सिस्टम ये ढंग से नहीं हो रहा है इसलिए कस्टमर कंप्लेंट आ रही है. Apart from this, virtually do a tabular scheduling on the basis of presentation and disclosure norms. जो 80 पन्ने का सर्कुलर है पिछले साल आया हुआ है, उसमें टैबुलर एक्सेल शीट में उसके एक एक पैराग्राफ डालो और उसके सामने लिखते जाओ ये मुझे करना है, ये मुझे करना नहीं है, ये मुझे एप्लीकेबल है, ये मुझे एप्लीकेबल नहीं है. That will ensure that you don't make errors in respect of compliance towards presentation and disclosure norms. Simple फंडा. RBI का जो सर्कुलर है वो टैबुलर फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट करो, रीड द सर्कुलर, circular will give you instructions, make a note that I have to comply this. Most of the presentation disclosure norms are post balance sheet, but then have a preparation on that, have a readiness, state of readiness on that particular issue. Eighth most important part is, probably I have already said number of times, and even Sarkar Bharti has said that the FSWM norms would go away and they would be replaced by prompt corrective action. The work is going on that. अगर prompt corrective action आता है तो SAF के नॉर्म भी बदल जाएंगे, और SAF के नॉर्म जब बदलेंगे तो दो चीज़ों पे होंगे, एक CRAR, दूसरा नेट NPA. ग्रॉस NPA का शायद मायने कोई रहेगा नहीं, ऐसा मुझे लगता है, लेकिन उन्होंने इस बारे में कोई गाइडलाइंस अभी तक दी नहीं है. लेकिन फोकस ऑन दीज टू की थिंग्स. रिजर्व बैंक ये चाहती है, जो उन्होंने कहा भी है, प्रेस रिलीज में कहा है कि आपका CRAR 26 तक 12% के ऊपर होना चाहिए. 12% क्या लिटिल ऊपर हो गए तो भी चलेगा. Many cooperative banks may not have this problem because of the share linkage norms. The smaller cooperative banks definitely do not have this problem, but they have a problem of net NPA. आप अगर NPA के चंगुल से बचते हो या NPA के क्लासिफिकेशन में आप एरर नहीं करते हो, तो नेट NPA इज़ बेस्ड ऑन प्रोविजनिंग. अब ये प्रोविजन जब करना पड़ेगा, किसी जगह पे आपके रिजर्व पड़े हुए हैं, जैसे कि बिल्डिंग फंड है उसमें पैसे पड़े हुए हैं, उसकी आपको ज़रूरत नहीं है, आप उसको BDDR में ट्रांसफ़र करवाना चाहते हो, माइंड यू नीड अ परमिशन. Shuffling of reserve from one basket to another basket, you need Reserve Bank of India's permission. So without permission of Reserve Bank of India, you can't do this, because probably the one video which I made about the treasury management in difficult times, the interchangeability of IDR and IFR, which was earlier conveniently available, now it is not. Now it is not. अगर आपके पास आपको आपके ट्रेजरी में IDR आ जाता है, आपको IFR में से पैसे निकालने, सीक रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया's अप्रूवल. Simple. If there is a justification for transferring money from IDR to IFR, you will get the permission from Reserve Bank of India if there is justification. Otherwise, no, you won't get. Secondly, many banks I have seen, they have created many small reserves for this or the other purpose. जो रिजर्व्स की ज़रूरत नहीं है ना, वो सबकी एक बार परमिशन ले लो, वो सबको BDDR में पार्क करो, क्योंकि अगर आपका BDDR एक्सेस हो जाता है, उसका रिवर्सल भी अब आसान नहीं रहा है. BDDR इज़ ऑलवेज अ चार्ज ऑन प्रॉफिट. अगर आपका एक्सेस BDDR हो जाता है तो आपको P&L में क्रिएट करना है, लेकिन उसके लिए परमिशन की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी. वो सो एनी रिजर्व और प्रोविजन यू वांट टू रिवर्स, you need approval of Reserve Bank. Start preparing it now, because if you seek the permissions right now that we want to do this for this March, do it now. By the end of March, you may get some advice from Reserve Bank of India whether they allow you to do that or they do not allow you to do that. Ensure that all your technology related audits are over. ISMS audit and EDP audit are the two guidelines which they have issued. And the cyber security compliance you need to do based on the level in which you are there, and there are relevant audit reports like VAPT and all that. Complete them, keep it ready with you, because you do it in the month of April, that is useless. You have to finish these jobs before 31st of March 2023, because then only it will be treated as a compliance, because your inspection is always based on a particular date, that is 31st of March each year. Another important thing is that do not forget the sight of business targets. Ensure that you reach the business target that has been decided by you, because that will help you to maintain your balance sheet. Ideally, my thinking is that we should write a weekly balance sheet for the next 100 days. Every week we write a balance sheet, assess the numbers. Once we assess the numbers, we know where we are faltering. Focus on those faltering areas. Keep a tab on areas where your bank is not moving ahead for whatever reason. Try to eliminate that reason. Once you do that, you are the controller of your balance sheet. It's not the Reserve Bank of India which is going to control your balance sheet. You have to control your balance sheet. And you should be able to draw your balance sheet, see your balance sheet now. Once you do that, all your team and your actions would move towards that goal. I believe that these are only few points which I have discussed. There are a number of points, but then वीडियो बहुत लंबा हो जाता है और फिर लोगों को मज़ा नहीं आता है, तो मैंने शॉर्ट वीडियो कर दिया है. इसमें आपको लिस्ट करनी है कि मुझे मार्च तक क्या क्या करना है, और उस लिस्ट के हिसाब से आपको ट्रैकिंग करना है. अगर आप अकाउंट्स राइट ऑफ करते हो तो ये सुनिश्चित करो कि यू ट्राई टू रिकवर सम अमाउंट इन राइट ऑफ, बिकॉज दैट स्ट्रेट वे एड्स टू योर बॉटम लाइन. अगर एनपीए आपके हाथ से बढ़ रहे हो, स्टार्ट द प्रोसेस ऑफ एक्वायरिंग द प्रॉपर्टीज़ under the settlement of credit. There is no RBI guidelines on that. There is only one circular, and what I am talking about is I am talking about non-banking assets. Plan it now, because you have to prove, if at all you want to acquire a property, you have to prove that you have failed to sell it, and therefore you have purchased it. And to fail to sell it is a 100 days program, because you will go for 2 or 3 auctions, buyers don't come, and in the 4th auction, probably in the month of March, with a 15 days gap roughly, you purchase it and you manage your NPA number. Once you do an NPA, remember to report to Reserve Bank of India. Why I will tell you, you must report to Reserve Bank of India. क्योंकि प्रोविजन ऐसी है BRI की कि आपको NPA करना नहीं है, you are not allowed, but if you do that, you have to dispose of the property within 7 years. खुदा न खास्ता मान के चलो कि आप डिस्पोज नहीं कर पाए, तो क्या करोगे? रिजर्व बैंक के पास परमिशन को जाओगे. रिजर्व बैंक पूछेगी आपने हमें तो बताया ही नहीं आपने एनबीए किया, जब जिस दिन किया उस दिन बताया ही नहीं. सो दिस रिपोर्ट विल कम हैंडी दैट वी हैव इन्फॉर्म्ड यू दैट वी हैव acquired the property under this particular account for the purpose of disposal within next 7 years. अगर आपकी डिस्पोज हो जाती है बता दो, लेकिन 5 साल का जो एक्सटेंशन है ना, वो मिलने के लिए इसका एडवांटेज आपको होगा, आज नहीं 7 साल के बाद. तो जो बैंक्स एनबीए कर रही है वो ध्यान में रखना चाहिए कि ये सिंपल ट्रिक है, लेकिन आप करते हो तो बैंक की सेफ्टी उसमें बहुत अच्छे तरह से बढ़ती है. और मुझे ये लगता है कि इसी तरह से अगर आप ट्रैकिंग करोगे तो आपका मार्च अच्छा होगा. और इसीलिए मैं ऑलमोस्ट 120 days ahead of March trying to help you out, figure you out and bring your attention to your balance sheet, because that is going to help you ensure that March 23 is good for you in terms of financial numbers of course and otherwise also. मुझे लगता है कि मैं ये कोशिश करता हूँ कि आपको आगाह करूँ, आपको सूचित करूँ, आपको इन्फॉर्म करूँ, आपको अवेयर करूँ. I do all these videos to ensure that the sector delivers, performs well. So if you like the videos that I make, please do subscribe to my channel so that you will get the notification once the video is uploaded. But then you all know that every Sunday 11 o'clock I air the video. I make a premiere every Sunday. Tell your friends to spare some time on Sunday, and then you have almost entire 5 to 6 weeks for that video. To watch that video. Contradict me, correct me, criticize me. अच्छे नहीं लगते हैं तो भी आप कमेंट दे सकते हो. मैंने कमेंट का सेक्शन जो है खुला रखा है, उस पर मैं जवाब भी देने की कोशिश करता हूँ। लेकिन अगर प्रॉब्लम बड़ा है तो मेरी ये रिक्वेस्ट रहेगी कि आपके मेरा जो जीमेल डिस्क्रिप्शन में मैं देता हूँ, वो जीमेल में आपके प्रॉब्लम एस्केलेट कर सकते हो। मेरी हर कोशिश यही रहेगी कि मैं आपको जवाब दूँ, मैं आपके जवाब टालना नहीं चाहता हूँ। कई बार ऐसा होता है कि आपके सवाल इतने क्रिटिकल होते हैं कि वो जवाब लिखना कठिन हो जाता है। उस वक्त मैं मेरा नंबर भी शेयर करता हूँ और मैं फ़ोन पे बात करके समझाने की कोशिश करता हूँ। दैट्स व्हाट आई हैव बीन डूइंग। I know that you are getting some advantage of these videos, at least clues to run the bank from my videos. So keep enjoying, keep watching. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Thank you so much.